Warm greetings to everybody. My name is John Lennox, and I am an emeritus professor of mathematics at the University of Oxford in England. And I am simply delighted to say to you that my book entitled Can Science Explain Everything is now available in Brazilian Portuguese. Some years ago, I had the honor of visiting Brazil and discussing this very question with some of your leading academics. And I know that there's great interest in this topic in Brazil. Can science explain everything? There are many scientists today who tell the public that science is the answer to every question. Science is the only real way to get at the truth about the universe and about ourselves. Now, I am a scientist, a mathematician, and I am passionate about science, but I love logic. And when people say science can explain everything and can tell us everything, I ask them, but this statement that science can explain everything, does science tell you that? And the answer is no. So it cannot be true. It's logically incoherent. The point is that when we look carefully, we'll see that around the world today, many people think that science is coextensive with rational thought. That's nonsense. If that were true, we would have to shut half the faculties in our colleges and universities, because history and literature and music and economics and many other topics, they're not the natural sciences, but they are rational disciplines. So I make some very important points in my book, and they are directed against the idea that we now call scientism, that science is the only way to truth. And in that book, I discuss, and I hope it is accessible. I wrote the book deliberately so that young people could follow the arguments and use them for themselves to understand why it is perfectly possible, and indeed it's logical, not only to be a scientist, but also, like me, to be a believer in God. You see, science explains some things very well, but it doesn't explain why there is a universe at all. It doesn't give us ultimate meaning behind life. And I stand in a great tradition. The tradition, if we look back to the beginnings of modern science, think of Galileo, Newton, Kepler, Clerk Maxwell, Faraday, all of them were believers in God. And they didn't see their faith in God as a hindrance in doing science. Rather, it was their motivation. C.S. Lewis summed up their attitude very well. He wrote, "Men became scientific because they expected law in nature, and they expected law in nature because they believed in a lawgiver." I am not ashamed to be both a scientist and a Christian, because arguably it was the Judeo-Christian legacy of the Bible that gave me my subject. And I hope you will enjoy reading this book, because it deals with most of the main questions that people ask today. And I've been thinking about them for over 60 years now. And I commend to you in Brazil the book, Can Science Explain Everything? Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the book.